Welcome to Crossbody of Work. My name is Evan.
I am Javier.
This week on the podcast, we are covering Dalton Castle, an ROH legend. Time to peacock, everyone. Javier's peacocking if you're not watching on YouTube. You should see it.
It's great. I'm also wearing glasses for the occasion.
I will say you did dress up for the occasion. This is nice.
I wanted to wear my boa. I had a boa that I wore to the Eras tour. And I threw it away because the feathers were going everywhere. And
boas never actually keep for that long. Like no boa is long for this world.
I bought it for I bought a pack of 2 of them for like $4 off of Amazon. So
that also could maybe be why the boa was not long for this world.
It just kept feathers just kept going everywhere. So I was like, I'm not having this
Have you
anymore.
seen
I'm never using this.
The clips from like after Eras tour concerts or Harry Styles concerts of just like the shit that's everywhere?
No, I have not.
It's like feathers and all the other like weird accoutrements from people's
accoutrement.
Yeah, let me throw out some French for you. Like all the other random shit that's on people's like cool outfits because it all falls off during the concert.
Oh, yeah.
Or people lose their hats or their sunglasses or whatever. And so they just find so many random things on the ground, which Dalton Castle would then take to make a tremendous outfit. Always bringing it back to the content.
This is a man who knows what he's doing. This is a seasoned veteran right here, folks.
I'm a seasoned vet at this point. Episode 205 is that what we're at this week? 205?
Oh, my God. We're 205 live?
This is 205 live. After this, we no longer qualify for the Cruiserweight division.
Oh, we're heavyweights. Let's go.
That's right. Coming for you, IWGP Heavyweight Championship. All right. On this podcast, we cover a wrestler through 5 of their most important matches, or sometimes 5 matches we can find on YouTube. This does include some of Dalton Castle's most important matches. We also get to see kind of the evolution of him through his career. Speaking of evolution, this is our first episode no longer being part of the Full Press Coverage, Full Press Network. We're very thankful for Full Press Coverage and all that they did. What a wonderful organization. What a wonderful group. We're now kind of doing it on our own. So you'll see that the links are different. The merch link is different. All that I'm going to talk about at the end, but just want to give a shout out to Ian at Full Press Wrestling and Full Press Coverage for all the wonderful stuff they've done over the years. So shout out to them. Cool stuff. We're now doing it our own.
Yes, we are independent contractors.
Much like all of your favorite wrestlers. We don't have a union either. All right. But we should.
It's just us two. It's just us two in the union.
Just us two in the union. And they too should have a union. All right. What do you know about Dalton Castle?
I mean, we could be here all day. Ring of Honor legend. I love this man with everything that I have. He was a guy who organically got so over with the crowd to the point where, when ROH was so driven by the American Bullet Club faction of Cole and the Bucks and Hangman and Cody, Kenny would come over on occasion.
Yeah.
And stuff like Marty Skrull was there too, and like all this other stuff. Like when all that was going down, the thing that like kind of rose through the ranks at this point was Dalton Castle, and just how organically over he became with the crowd and with everything, to the point where like he became kind of like the top guy of Ring of Honor for a second there. And then it was just kind of led by him, Jay Lethal and the Briscoes for a bit. Back injury happened to him somewhere around 2018, 2019 range.
Yeah.
And he's kind of never been the same since. He's still a prominent figure with Ring of Honor. Sometimes you'll see him appear on AEW programming because they're pretty much tied at the hip at this point.
Yeah.
But he's still the Peacock character. He's great. I love everything about him. Freaking hilarious performer, but also fantastic wrestler.
I knew about the gimmick. I knew about the Peacock gimmick. I knew about the boys. I knew about the showmanship and the androgynousness of it all. And I knew about all that. What I didn't know was how talented of a wrestler Dalton Castle is. And the fact that it's just in his lineage, like his backstory is that he's a wrestler. So his birth name is Brett Gill from Rochester, New York.
Brett Gill?
Giehl. Gill.
It's a crazy name.
Isn't any crazier than Dalton Castle? No. Gio wrestled for more than 10 years from middle school through college, representing Greece Athena High School Trojans in 03, winning a varsity wrestling tournament in the 171-pound weight class in 2004. Was an amateur and NCAA wrestler, winning a New York championship in the Greco-Roman wrestling and competing 3 times on the NCAA All-State team. Was also a member of Team USA, traveling internationally to the World Championships. He was a wrestler's wrestler, and you see that
Yeah.
in the way he wrestles.
Yes, very much so. He is a grappling amateur, Greco-Roman, whatever you want to call it. He is that to the fullest extent. Your Kurt Angles, your Chad Gables, you might throw in there your Shelton Benjamins on occasion,
You
but
should.
then you should. But absolutely right up there with all the greats as far as the putting the amateur style, mixing that in with their normal pro wrestling style. Dalton Castle was absolutely up there.
And Dalton Castle debuted in 2009 at the age of 23. And early on in his career, a lot of the independents, a lot of the New York area stuff, Empire State Wrestling, and also worked with the International Wrestling Cartel. And that is where our first match takes place. It is February 22nd, 2014. And Dalton Castle is the IWC Heavyweight Champion. He's defending against Luke Gallows at IWC A New Era. Very interesting matchup.
Pretty sure he's Doc Gallows at this point, but I don't care.
He's introduced as Luke Doc Gallows. So
Sure, man.
he's both.
He's both. He's all the above. I wanted to get some of his earlier IWC work in here because I know he had like a whole like story arc where, you know, he really had to work his way up. He had like a year-long feud to get to the title belt, all that other stuff. But unfortunately, none of that is on the internet.
No.
So I had to settle for him already being the champion and challenging Luke Gallows.
He wins the title from someone who doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, I don't think.
Oh, fun.
John McChesney?
Yeah, that dude.
John McChesney.
They had like a year-long feud.
Other people that have held this title, Colt Cabana, CM Punk, Balls Mahoney, the Sandman. That's exciting. Corey Graves held this title. Eric from the Viking Raiders, he held the title. Raymond Rowe.
Shout to Ray Rowe.
Yeah. Joaquin Wilde held the title. Tommy Dreamer. Wardlow held this title a couple of times.
Wardlow.
Yeah, so interesting stuff. What'd you think of the actual match?
It's fine. It's way too
good.
much Gallows being... Here's the thing. Like, you'll never convince me that Luke Gallows is a good wrestler. Like, you just won't. Like, that's why I think that his career kind of went perfectly for him, because he got paired with Carl Anderson and he was just able to be the heavy in a tag team, because that's the exact position that he should be in. But when he's a solo guy just going out there and wrestling, like, it's just not very good. Like, it's fine, it gets the job done, but that's it. You know, it's like going to the dollar store to find pizza. Like, it's edible.
Pizza.
It's edible. You can eat it, and your body will probably digest it. Maybe not properly, but it'll digest it. But it's like, come on, man. You couldn't have like put together $5 more and gotten Domino's. Like,
got a little Caesars, got a little hot and ready. Yeah,
a little hot and ready. Some.
Amber O'Neal and Justin LeBar are with Gallows.
Justin LeBar, I'm assuming, is an IWC guy.
Justin LeBar.
Amber O'Neal, I'm pretty sure, becomes Amber Gallows.
Yes. Justin LeBar,
his ex-wife,
is a wrestling journalist.
Oh.
He's a host on Busted Open Radio. He does Wrestling Inc. stuff. He does perform in IWC. Like, his Twitter header right now is him behind Wardlow at an IWC event.
Good for him.
So, you know, there's, what I'm saying is there's the possibility you and I can manage somebody in a championship match in the future.
I would happily, any wrestler listening to this right now, if you want me to be your manager, and especially if you're not the best promo in the world, I will happily hop on the stick for you.
I will take bumps. I'll take bumps.
Evan will take the bumps. I'll just cut promos.
You son of a bitch. In the match itself, Dalton is using his speed, which is interesting because in a lot of the other matches that we cover, he's a pretty good matchup size-wise for everybody. It's very rarely that he does have to use his speed as his number one thing, but against Gallows, he absolutely has to.
Well, I mean, he's like 5'11".
Yeah.
So he's not like the biggest guy. So like it's
No.
fine when you're facing anyone up to like 6'3".
But
But Gallows is a big boy.
even a lot of the other matches, yeah, he doesn't have to. But yeah, obviously Gallows is a big boy. Some of the good moves by Castle, he does like a fun pretzel pin that I liked.
Yes, he like traps the leg somehow.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of interesting. And it's not really a pin I don't remember ever really seeing before.
No, I have no way of describing it because I've never seen it before. I was like, I don't know how to say this, but it's a cool pin and everyone should watch it. Gallows gets the advantage because of the distraction. So there's a distraction from the bar. Gallows kicks Castle's head off.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's a tough thrust kick.
Amber gets involved and face washes Castle at one point. Gallows with a splash in the corner and a clothesline.
Big ol' lariat.
Yeah, Castle out at 2. Gallows sends him to the outside. And that's where we get the first instance of one of Castle's signature moves.
Yeah, it's to kind of explain it to people. So he's ringside.
Yep.
And he uses the apron and the bottom rope to kind of 619 his way onto his opponent.
Yeah.
And then he hooks his legs around them and he hits a Hurricane Rana.
Yeah. It's a very cool move. He does it in 4 out of 5 matches that we watched this week.
Yes, and he tries to do it in one of them, but isn't able to actually land. Or in the last one that he doesn't hit it, but isn't able to actually land it. So
he goes for 5 in 5 matches.
Yes.
It's always there. In the ring, we pretty much get to the finish. There's a drop kick by Castle and a bulldog. Amber gets on the apron. Castle ducks and Gallows clocks her, and that leads to the finish. I was not expecting this move to be the finish.
Yeah, he hits a deadlift German suplex for the win.
Great bridge on that son of a bitch.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was his finisher up until he got to Ring of Honor. So,
yes, and debuted the Bangarang,
which we will talk about soon.
Very shortly. Can you guess who he lost the IWC Heavyweight Championship to?
Well, it wasn't Wardlow.
It was none of the names I've mentioned, but is a name you know.
No shot. Freaking, can you tell me a promotion that they're currently at?
AEW.
They're in AEW. Oh, God. I don't know. Alex Reynolds, sorry. I mixed up Silver and Reynolds.
That's fine. Dalton Castle would lose the IWC Heavyweight Championship on January 24th, 2015 to RJ City. Ew. RJ City beat him for the title after a little bit over a year as champion. So impressive stuff.
Shout out to AEW.
He is the second longest reigning IWC World Champion, having held the belt for 406 days. Prior to his win here, he would debut in a couple of other promotions. He would wrestle a little bit in Chikara, but he would also debut in ROH at Dragon's Reign on May 11th, 2013, taking on Jimmy Nuts. Great name.
Great
no
name.
notes. The match ended abruptly because Rhett Titus attacked both men. Castle would then debut The Boys, a.k.a. the Tate Twins.
The Boys.
And he'd have a feud with Silas Young, who took The Boys from him at one point.
Yeah, so Silas Young was like a real hardcore man's man.
Toxic masculinity in tights, baby.
Yeah, so he was just all about that. He tried to make the boys into men and failed in spectacular fashion.
We're going to bring you into the woods and leave you there. And then you have to walk home.
With no shoes.
No shoes. You get a knife.
Not even water.
No water, just a knife. You can stab some water. Castle would get the boys back in the end.
Yes.
And then he had this run where he was just being used to face off. As he was getting like really organically popular, he would get faced off against, a lot of visiting superstars or people coming in for one-offs, including this match, Death Before Dishonor 14. He goes up against Okada.
When Okada is champion, I'm pretty sure.
August 19th, 2016. When I saw, because you found the matches this week because you know Dalton Castle and ROH more than I do. I saw there was an Okada match on here. I audibly went, what? Like, what do you mean he faced Okada in 2016? Okada's about to go on the run of his goddamn life.
Okada's on the run of his goddamn life.
He's
currently on it.
Crazy that Dalton gets the match against him, but that's just how popular he was in ROH.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like you couldn't really pair him up against any of the Bullet Club people, and those were the guys who were kind of leading the card, and you also didn't want him in, I mean, pretty much though, the depth of the card was the Bullet Club people. It was tag teams, and it was like Jay Lethal, who you don't want to pair him against Jay Lethal because Jay Lethal's probably doing his own thing. Maybe if you wanted to take Jay Briscoe on his own, you would do that. But the Briscoes are probably in a tag feud, and then it's Dalton Castle is the only real logical other person to put there in a singles match as far as popularities and status and all that other stuff.
Yes, by the way, Okada is definitely champion at this time.
Yo, 100%. He wins it at the 2016. He wins it at Wrestle Kingdom 9, 8.
Crazy stuff. Also, if you're wondering, Jay Briscoe had a match against Hangman Page. Anything Goes match happened right before the Okada Castle match.
Love it.
And Mark Briscoe was challenging for the TV title against Bobby Fish. There you go.
Oh, God.
That's what the Briscoes were up to that day. This match is cool. This is a cool match.
I enjoyed everything. This is the most entertaining match probably of the entire.
Is it the recommendation?
It's not my recommendation.
No,
but
it's not mine either.
It's definitely the match that I think is the most fun.
We get the handshake to start, trading arm wringers, rope break as they're grappling. Okada fakes the chop and instead just lightly taps on Castle's chest.
The classic Okada.
Very classic.
The Castle peacocks into, so he does the post.
The way I would describe it is if you didn't put your arms back further, and there's no knee up, but it's the Iconics pose.
It's the icon. Yeah, it's pretty much the Iconics pose.
Yeah.
Except he was doing it first.
Okada
goes for a Rainmaker. Castle ducks. Then he poses, spooks the hell out of Okada.
I love that Okada it's almost like he's never seen Dalton Castle before, and so he's just being exposed to it at the first time. And this guy does his peacock pose. He's like, "What is this? What is this man doing?"
The boys start fanning Okada, which I thought was freaking hilarious.
That's after the slingshot senton. They're like, "Oh, he must be tired. Here's some fans."
Castle crotches Okada, then hits some great knee strikes. One thing I found out about Dalton Castle watching these matches back, incredible corner knee strikes.
Significantly better strikes with his legs than his arms.
Yes.
And his punches are fine. Like they're not like they're not.
He just doesn't do it very often.
He just doesn't do it often. He just is too busy throwing knees.
He throws knees and he throws people. That's all he does.
Oh, we have one of the greatest throwing people moments later on, and I'm so excited to talk about it.
Absolutely. Okada drop kicks Castle out of the ring, which Evan, go ahead, fangirl.
It's good stuff. It's just good stuff.
That 619 spin into the Hurricane Rana, followed by a suicide dive.
Yes. Also, when Castle is on the top, or gets knocked to the outside, fans start to fan Castle from the front row,
and the boys hand feathers.
They hand the fans out to the fans. The fans are fanning.
AEW wishes that they could have that.
It's not that hard.
We get one of the coolest moves that I've seen in wrestling, which is just like an inverted sling blade. It's basically a sling blade, but if you were to just do a bulldog.
Yeah. It's a really good move. Castle then just doing some tosses. He tosses Okada, capture suplex, the deadlift bridging German for a 2 is really good. The boys are brought into the ring by Okada, which is weird.
They're listening to Okada for some reason.
He neckbreakers Castle, makes the boys fan Castle while he hits an elbow drop, and then does the peacock pose with the boys.
He does his money pose.
Oh, he does the money pose, yeah. Okada's loving this.
Yeah, the Rainmaker pose with the boys to his side was iconic.
It's really good. Then we kind of start to do some reversals, and we get the finish.
Yeah, Castle hits a bangerang, which, in order to describe a bangerang, it's basically like the airplane spin, but instead of you putting them over your shoulder in the fireman's carry, he just grabs them by their legs, puts them in front, spins, and then just kind of like lets them go into a slam.
They're in Alabama slam position, spin, and then it becomes like a sit-out facebuster type thing.
Yeah. He does that. Okada slides out of the ring though, so he doesn't even get a pin on that. Suplex into a Nirnagi kind of slam.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to describe that. Okada hits a drop kick, which every time.
Yes, so good.
He counters a bangerang into a tombstone in one of the greatest displays of core strength I have ever seen.
It's funny because mentally I was like, yeah, like that seems like a natural reversal. Like, yeah, he counters the Bangarang into the tombstone. And then I thought about it and I was like, that's actually really impressive.
Yes, because he has to like
Fully
twist him
twist.
around
Yeah.
while he's doing the whole thing. And this is a man who weighs probably like 220 to whatever. Dalton Castle is like 5'11". He's not like the biggest guy in the world, but he's
listed at
pretty thick.
He's listed at 217.
He's a pretty thick dude for his height. And then Okada obviously hits the tombstone. He gets him up. He screams because he's Okada. He hits a Rainmaker. 1, 2, 3. Okada obviously wins the match, but holy crap, did this make Dalton Castle look like $1 million?
To get the Okada match to have like not a visual pin, but a moment where you've clearly got him on the ropes, because the second he gets hit with Bangarang, Okada scrambles and rolls to the outside. This, I'm sure, did wonders for Dalton Castle.
Yes. Yes.
It
absolutely.
should.
I remember Twitter that night or the next morning, like really going crazy about it. And yeah, I mean, it was one of those natural progression things for him where it just organically got him over to the point where you were just like, yeah, this guy might be the most popular person in the company.
We're going to track more of his natural rise to the top of ROH, but first we're going to take a break. When we get back, he goes up against Colt Cabana. Back from the break, at All-Star Extravaganza 8, Castle teamed with Colt Cabana and defeated the All Night Express. But then on the November 19th episode of ROH Wrestling, Cabana turned on Castle by attacking him and the boys. It's one thing to attack Dalton Castle. Don't touch his boys.
You don't put fingers on the boys.
Castle and Cabana are obviously starting to feud, and that leads us to ROH Manhattan Mayhem 2017. I believe at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Great locale.
I also think this is the rematch. I'm pretty sure they had a match of Final Battle that year, but I couldn't find it.
They did have a match already, a Final Battle that Castle wins, so this is the rematch. Heel Colt Cabana. What are your thoughts on heel Colt Cabana?
I love it because he's so funny. Like just so naturally funny that when he's a bad guy, he just becomes funny in like an irritable way.
Yes.
And I'm just like, he knows exactly what he's doing.
He gets to act on all of his worst instincts when he's a heel.
Yeah, that's exactly it. He basically gets to become have you ever seen The League?
Yes.
What is the name of the guy with the glasses? I'm forgetting his name.
Nick Kroll's character.
Yeah, Nick Kroll's character. He basically just gets to become him.
Yeah,
someone's an R. I don't remember what his name is.
I'm going to look it up, but you start talking about the match. Talk about how wonderful Dalton Castle's full peacock entrance is at this point.
This is 100% full peacock. Everything about it. They use the fans and everything to make, and then he like extends like his little like robe thing with like feathers and stuff. He looks exactly like a peacock on his entrance when he poses. And then he goes down. He's wearing like the full like suit that you probably know him as. I know it as the Elton John power suits. And it looks great. Obviously, I mean, he just wrestles in trunks. So like he's always kind of been like that. The beauty of this match, in my opinion, is that like Cabana is so sick of the boys and like it's so deep in his mind, the whole peacock thing, that like the match, before the match even starts, the boys, Castle, and the fans are playing mind games on Cabana because they're just like doing the whole shtick with Castle.
Yeah. Rodney Ruxin. That's
Rodney
Nick Kroll's.
Ruxin.
Yeah, that's Nick Kroll's character.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he is. He's just that guy.
He's just that guy. Just the fucking worst. Cabana chased the boys around the ring. Castle protects them in the ring. We get the peacock post, but Cabana just straight up slaps Castle. Fun.
Single leg takes down, drops Colt on his fucking head.
Yep. Just
right on his head.
Brutal.
The boys toss Cabana back into the ring. Castle hits a belly to belly. He like does
the fake suicide dive, and then he just does the strut. Not the Ric Flair strut. He's not being Ric Flair. He's just vibing out.
He's just peacocking, man.
That's all it is.
Just peacocking. He goes for that 619 Hurricane Rana move. Cabana slips on it, and he rams Castle into the barricade.
Yeah.
Little down the line, Castle hits an exploder. Some big running corner knees, and then a deadlift German suplex that is like one of the best like feats of strength. You will see. Like, it just is.
I genuinely thought it was ending the match, and then I looked at the YouTube video and I was like, "There's a lot more left." So
Yeah.
probably not, but it was really good. Cabana with a hip attack in the corner, big kick to the face for a 2 count. The Billy Goat's curse. Did I hear that right? Is what this
Yeah.
submission is? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's an inverted Boston Crab, pretty
Yeah.
much. I
It's
like it. It's pretty cool. It's unique.
it is very cool. It's just really weird to see. It just feels wrong.
It just has a weird name. It's the Billy Goat's curse.
It's like Hakeem Olajuwon in a Raptors jersey. You're like, that's cool. That's wrong though. It's not. It's not a good thing.
Cabana goes for the bionic elbow. Castle ends up blocking it, and then Cabana gets the advantage back. He takes Castle, puts him in a fireman's carry, starts taking him up. He's going for the Chicago skyline.
Yeah.
The boys distract him though, so he drops Castle, and then the boys, one gets, I don't know if it's Brandon gets on top of Brett or what the deal is, but one gets on top of the other by the shoulders, and Colt's just like, fuck it, and then boots him 300 style right off the apron.
I don't know why they couldn't both attack him from each side of the turnbuckle. Instead, they're like, "Hey, we're gonna be two kids in a trench coat."
Yeah,
Like,
one thing about the Tate brothers is that they're freaking dumb. Kayfabe, they're freaking dumb.
look at us, we're hot, and is there anything more to life than being really, really ridiculously good looking? Yes, they take some brutal bumps onto the apron there.
Yeah, it's a bad bump. Castle then just grabs Colt by the legs. He gets him up. He hits the bangerang. 1, 2, 3. Dalton Castle wins the match.
Good stuff for Dalton Castle. At Best in the World 2017, Dalton Castle would finally taste ROH gold. Castle and the boys defeated, do you know who they won the 6-man titles from?
Was it the Hung Bucks?
No, it's Bully Ray and the Briscoes.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. This was Castle's first title win in ROH. After 2 successful title defenses, they would lose them to
the Kingdom.
The Hung Bucks.
Oh, God damn it.
They would lose them to Adam Page and the Young Bucks during the War of the Worlds UK tour. Shortly after the loss, though, Dalton Castle's singles push kind of went into overdrive because he participated in the Soaring Eagle Cup tournament where he won. He defeated Flip Gordon in the qualifying match and then won the 4-way elimination against Silas Young, Matt Taven, and Frankie Kazarian. And that meant he got to have a shot against Cody for the ROH World Championship at Final Battle. And that is our next match.
Evan Plate Kingdom.
What a great fucking song.
This is probably my recommendation for the week.
This is 100% my recommendation this week.
I really wanted it to be the next match because I really like that match a whole lot, but it's this.
This is the debut of Blonde Cody.
Is it?
Yeah. So he does this whole thing where he has the hood up because he usually did the hood or whatever. He does like a really dramatic reveal, and commentary loses their minds for a second.
I thought he did it in New Japan.
No, apparently this is the debut. At least it's the ROH debut of Blonde Cody.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it
Which,
makes
like,
a lot of sense.
Now he's the biggest babyface in the world, and he even got a fucking neck tattoo between now and then. Cody Rhodes has had the greatest success with a neck tattoo in human history.
I still think it's terrible. Look.
It's not good. I didn't
terrible.
say that. I'm saying, in spite of himself, he has the best success with a neck tattoo.
Sure, man. I will give you that one.
Name another successful person with a neck tattoo.
Name another person with a neck tattoo.
I don't know, man. When I was playing sports in high school,
Machine Gun Kelly. I don't know.
I assume he has many neck tattoos. He now has
anyone who has tattoos. But it's like, does that count?
No, it's got to be like a one-off. Like if you have a lot of tattoos, that's fine. But if you have like a one tattoo and it's just on your neck,
no shot. I have no idea who.
I won't talk to you at the bus stop if that's the case. Like I see a neck tattoo on you, I'm like, ooh, no.
You talking to people at the bus stop?
You are not from Canada. We're very friendly up here.
Okay. I guess.
We're all like, how's the weather? And the answer is terrible.
Castle spooks Cody by getting in his face. Like he just walks up to him in the corner before the bell rings, just like up in his face. And Cody's like, what the hell?
Someone get this man away from me.
Cody drops through the gold dust punch. You know the one where he like drops on his back. Yeah. And then, but Castle catches the back and turns that into a Juju Katani.
It's really good.
Love it. Castle ducks a disaster kick, hits the peacock pose, baby.
The peacock pose is powerful in a way that I don't fully understand. It makes people stop in their tracks.
Aside from Dalton Castle, what is like the most like what do you think is like the most iconic peacocking type of moment in
Ooh.
film, real life, TV, whatever it may be?
So, how would you define peacocking as somebody who is like
Like
rightfully?
literally, it has to be peacocking. Like it is literally not like someone who is just flamboyant. Like Elton John isn't peacocking. He's just
But
that.
somebody who's like intentionally strutting their stuff so that everyone knows that they're the shit.
Just peacocking, man.
Oh God, this is good.
Do you want to hear mine?
I do want to hear yours.
It's Ned, the best friend from 17 again.
What a pull!
Yeah.
You just had that locked and loaded in your back pocket.
I was ready. I just
were
pulled that
ready.
out a minute ago. That's why I brought up the subject.
Unbelievable. I'm trying to think of like famous peacockers.
Zac Efron movies, man. I've got those locked and loaded at any time.
Yeah, just wait until that's the next Instagram series is getting Javier name every Zac Efron movie main character.
Main character is crazy. I don't know about that one. Charlie St. Cloud. I've got that one locked in.
That's true. We got that one. We got Troy Bolton.
While you think of peacocks, I'll keep going with the match. So at one point, Brandy grabs Castle by the leg. Cody's able to hit a flat net liner off of that. Cody hits an Alabama slam for a near fall. He gets in Todd Sinclair's face after that, which, by the way, last week, or one of the last weeks, you asked me about like the main
Rudy Charles, yeah.
Rudy Charles, and I was like, I don't really care about Rudy Charles. Todd Sinclair, I would die for. I would die for senior referee Todd Sinclair.
If you Google like men peacocking, it's some of the worst Instagram or Google image results of all time. It's just the worst suits you've ever fucking seen.
You Googling men peacocking is like one of the funniest.
It's atrocious.
You have done on this podcast. It just is.
You know what it is? It's just photos of the fucking Kentucky Derby. That's all this is. And then Timothy Chalamet. That's all this is.
Okay, so are you picking Timothy Chalamet then?
I guess so, or I guess the horses from the Kentucky Derby. Oh, Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury? That's kind of was just his style,
it's just
though.
Kind of, yeah, it's the same thing as Elton John. It's just him. Cody gets pushed by Todd Sinclair at one point here after getting in his face.
As he should. Why is everyone in these photos mewing? Just.
Anyways, then Cody puts on the worst label lock you will ever see.
It only lasts a little bit. It's not,
but it's so bad. It's genuinely terrible.
I think the only reason I don't think it's that bad is because it lasts like 2 seconds.
It's not good. Cody's like on the outside. He's doing all his other bits, and then we get that 619 into a Hurricane Rana spot.
Yep.
But Cody just catches Castle, stops him, and then power bombs him through a table.
He does powerbomb through the table, which is some good stuff.
It's great. It's probably, I mean, this was the match where Castle doesn't hit the Hurricane Rana.
Well, that and the Cabana match.
Oh, in the Cabana match, right.
Yeah.
But he goes for it. So that's what matters. Cody grabs a chair. The boys take it from him. And then Brady Rhodes jumps off the top rope to the outside onto the boys. And all three of them get kicked out.
Yes, they all do. I think I know the answer to this, and I just want confirmation. Would Cody be as big a babyface in WWE if he had Brandy?
God, no.
Okay. Just
no.
And
my thing is, I don't think you're able
Brandy.
to be a babyface, at least not like a superstar like level. Like Cody is like generational franchise player kind of babyface right now. I think he just has to be alone. Like you just have to be alone to do that.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. Or you have to steal the girlfriend of the guy who you're friends with. Looking at you, John Cena, Zack Ryder.
Or you have to be Macho Man with Elizabeth. But that's like a one-of-one.
That's a one-of-one
kind of situation.
Speaking of Cody being a babyface, we skipped over the fact that he went to Too Sweet a Fan in the crowd and just flipped them all off.
I love it.
I love Cody.
He's great. Cody heel during this run, like people were like, "Oh, Cody's not even that good of a wrestler. He's kind of like he's eating his own shit up, all this other stuff." I loved Cody's independent run. I thought that he developed himself as a character so well, and I think that people like putting him down as like, oh, he's just like full of himself and he's like, really really trying to eat off of the Bullet Club and the Young Bucks and Kenny's independent rep to get himself over. And I think that like is so dumb because it was like a mutually beneficial relationship, like friendship between all of
Yeah.
them. And also like that was kind of the point. Like that was the whole character.
If
Was that
anyone wants to figure out how to reinvent
he
themselves,
wanted to be hated.
you study two people from recent history. You study Cody and you study Drew. Like, there's
Yes.
two guys who went and they just figured it out and then have now come back and are absolute fucking cornerstones. Like, that is what you do.
Drew McIntyre has resigned, by the way.
Oh, did that get reported today?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Saw that
Good.
all over the feed.
Very happy about that.
Dalton catches Cody on the disaster kick, hits a release Northern Lights suplex. At one point, Cody gets busted. I don't know what it is, but he clearly didn't do it hard way because they cut to Dalton Castle just strutting around for a little bit, and it was very clear that Cody was probably pricking his head.
Castle is on the apron with his feet around the ropes. Cody's on the outside. Castle pulls him forward, and he goes face first into the ring post. That's what happens.
Yeah, that's what it was.
While this is happening, I also want to shout out, Castle is selling his ass off.
Yes.
He is doing a really good job of, there's this weird thing where when you're such a flamboyant or like cocky character, you have to sell, but also still take those shots to like mug it up. And so when he finally gets back in control, you can see on his face, he's like, I meant to do this the whole time. Like, but also you can see he's clearly in pain. He's like, no, this is going exactly as I planned. It's like if a cat hurts itself, because then the cat is like, no, I'm fine, fuck you. But it's like limping.
Yeah. It's like Team Rocket. Oh my God, is Dalton Castle Jesse from Team Rocket?
Dalton Castle is from Team Rocket, 100%.
Or no, James. James is the one. Jesse and James, that's what they were.
It's true. And Meowth, that's right.
We finally get a disaster kick. Cody ends up hitting it to Castle when he's on the apron.
Yeah.
They like do counters to each other. There's like a finisher counter type deal, and then Cody just ends up decking Todd Sinclair. This was after Castle had hit a deadlift German ringside, which was
nice.
Castle. So Todd Sinclair's down for the count. Castle puts on a modification of a crossface chicken wing, pretty much. Cody taps out, but there's no ref.
Sinclair can't see it.
What can he do?
Castle then with the bangering attempt. Cody counters. We get the crossroads. Castle kicks out as Sinclair counts, and like not a delayed count either. Castle just kicks out a crossroads.
First guy to do it.
Unthinkable nowadays. A disaster kick from Cody lands. Castle with a bangarang though, and he wins. Yes. One of the biggest level jumps in terms of pop I think I've heard in a long time.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody thought one bangarang would end this match. So when he pins Cody, the crowd, it's a genuine surprise pop. They're like, oh, shit.
Yeah, and it's a great moment. I mean, Dalton Castle was so popular at the time. Like, I remember everyone wanting Dalton to win this match because we were like, he should just be crowned the Ring of Honor World Champion. He's their most popular guy. Like, he was the biggest babyface in the company at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he just was. I don't think he was the most popular act. I think that the Bullet Club kind of took that moniker because they were the most popular act in pretty much anywhere outside of WWE. Honestly, 2016, probably even including WWE, Bullet Club was probably the most popular thing in wrestling going at that point. So it's like, it made it, or 17 actually. So it made a lot of sense to crown Dalton because he was so freaking good. He was so like he just earned it. And I was really happy to see that happen. And shout out to Cody because this moment was kind of made better because he took it from Cody.
Yeah. In order for the babyface to have the biggest triumph, you need to have someone for them to triumph over. And Cody was a great person where, correct me if I'm wrong, but at this point in the Cody run, people had kind of come around, like acknowledged a little bit like, okay, Cody's doing some good stuff, but people were still kind of like, all right, man.
He was overhated by
But
this point,
was it
but
starting to correct itself at this point, or was he still in the fully overhated
I still
stage?
don't think so. I think he's still in the overhated stage. I really don't think it's until like the AEW like rumors start coming around and
Yeah.
that whole thing. Pretty much like All In
All In
is
is
the
the
original All
point.
In was
Yeah.
really when it started to tip the other way and people started to be like, "Oh, we like Cody again. Cody's great."
For those without an ROH background, who have like a WWE, maybe a TNA, whatever, and you had to give them a comp to this accomplishment by Dalton Castle, who would the comp be?
That's a tough one because it's not even like he had like it's not like a Kofi Kingston type run where he organically got super over because he put in
Yeah.
so many years of hard work and we loved Kofi for so long and he hadn't been given the opportunity until finally he did. It's sort of like a slow ascent up until finally he's just like did it.
Undeniable. Like by the end,
Yeah,
like of course we're gonna make
like
more.
it's not even like he had. I don't know if he had any Ring of Honor world title opportunities before this. So it's
Yeah.
like maybe like I want to say it's like Sami Zayn when he was in NXT, but that doesn't even really work because he had so many world title chances before that that it didn't really match.
Yeah.
Maybe like somewhere along the lines of a Dean Ambrose type where he just
Yeah.
kind of organically got over on his own, or like
Actually, Dean Ambrose might be like specifically the WWE run might be the right.
yeah,
The right
maybe
one.
like Drew in the second run where he
Yeah.
like kind of built himself up to the world title. I would
Okay.
say something like that.
So if you like all those heartwarming moments, you should go watch this because this is our recommendation this week. Go watch it.
Yes, this is great. I love Dalton Castle. This is probably the best match of the week too, as far as like the wrestling goes. So yeah,
Yeah, it's the
definitely.
best one. We're going to take a break. When we get back, Dalton Castle is moving to ROH as part of AEW. Back from the break, during his title run, Castle would suffer a back injury, and that forced him to drop the title in a four-corner survival match to Jay Lethal, a match that we've covered on this podcast.
Yes, we have.
Because it also involved Cody and Matt Taven. It's on the Matt Taven episode. Go listen to the Matt Taven episode. It's a good time.
I appreciate Matt Taven for what he is.
Which is Matt Taven.
Matt Taven.
I wish that he didn't sound like Matt Damon because I would just have Team America World Police in my head.
Why is that the first thing you think of when it's
Matt Taven? Have you seen that movie?
Yes, I saw it in theaters.
Well, yeah, because they have the Matt Damon doll.
I was a child.
All I can say is Matt Damon. You should not have seen that in theater. I know when that came out and how old you would have been. You should not have seen that in theaters.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. This explains a lot about you. Castle had some bad times. At a G1 Supercard, he lost to Rush in 15 seconds. And after the match, he attacked the boys and left the ring. And then he apologized to the boys on ROH Wrestling, but then attacked them again and turned heel. After the heel turn, he began teaming with Joe Hendry in a match. And honestly, if there's two wrestlers I wouldn't want to meet because they would talk shit about me the second I left, it would be Joe Hendry and Dalton Castle. They would say mean, accurate things about you. They would insult you in a way that hits you to your soul. And that wouldn't be fun. So they were teaming together before the COVID pandemic started, and so they weren't able to kind of do that. Dalton Castle will come back to ROH after Tony Khan bought ROH and made it part of AEW. The first event was Supercard of Honor 15, where Castle reunited with the boys, turning face again. And then he defeated his former team partner, Joe Hendry, at that show. The boys and Dalton Castle will go on to challenge for the 6-man titles in ROH at ROH Death Before Dishonor 2022 against the Righteous, Vincent, Bateman, and Dutch. For those who don't know the Righteous, explain them to me.
Man, that's tough. They are just like these weird culty,
they
big
got cult
dudes,
vibes.
Like, I don't even know, man. It's like a literal like cult.
Yeah.
But like they're all weird. And
they wear all white a lot.
Yeah, and they wear the white like suits and stuff. I don't know. I love the Righteous. I really hope that they kind of get like a little bit of a push going with them because I think they're really good.
Who's your favorite of the Righteous?
Oh, I love Dutch. Dutch is my
I love Dutch
favorite.
too. Let's talk about Dutch briefly before we talk about the actual match.
Big boy.
In the match, commentary says that if you had to give a comparison to Dutch, it's Big Bubba Rogers, aka Big Boss Man. And the second I heard that, I was like, I see it. I see what the movement they're talking about. Do you have a better comparison? Because you immediately shook your head.
No, I just think Big Boss Man sucks, and like Dutch is actually good. So
Whoa, okay. If Big Boss Man was in today's era and he had the training and whatever, I'm sure he would move a lot like Dutch.
sure, man. He's
This
just a
I
big
didn't
guy who
expect.
moves fast.
You're
Like,
the
let's
one
just
who
be
hung
real with
Big
ourselves.
Boss Man at WrestleMania 15. It wasn't Undertaker. It was
All right,
you.
bro.
You're part of the brood. I know it.
I was like not even. I was 1.5 years old.
This is like when John Mulaney's mom accused him of killing Princess Diana, and he's like, "I was in Wisconsin in 12."
I was like a solid 18 months old, 19 months, whatever it was.
And you were already plotting and planning.
I was plotting murder. I am the Omen, or whatever.
I fucking knew it.
Is it Damien? I am Damien.
Dalton Castle during the entrance here is a star.
Oh my god, for sure.
The shit talking to the camera, the flourishes, the way they do the entrance, he just has that charisma that you cannot teach.
Yeah, I love everything about Dalton Castle. I just really, if he didn't have that back injury, man, he would have been like I truly believe he would have been like a mega star in wrestling. And we'll talk about that, I guess, at the end. But
Yeah.
the guy he just exudes charisma, and he's still doing it to this day. This feud that he has with Johnny TV is incredible stuff. But one thing that I will say is in this back run that he's had the last couple years since under the ROH AEW umbrella, he is taken to talking to the camera in a way that is like only matched by Roman Reigns. Like, it is incredible what this man does to the while he comes down to the ring. He is just talking so much crap, and it's great, and it's just absolute nonsense.
Yeah.
The best part about this match, by the way, is so we've got the flamboyant peacocks and the scary like fucking hills of eyes motherfuckers, Resident Evil type dudes.
Yeah.
And they all adhere to the code of honor.
Yes.
It's great stuff.
Everyone buys it. Everyone's like, no, we get the code of honor. That's fair. It makes sense. Like, we're civilized, all right? It's like when they set up the ground rules in the Anchorman fight. Like,
Yes.
no touching the hair. Meanwhile, Brick Tamlin has a fucking grenade.
Well, that doesn't involve hair.
I killed somebody with a trident.
Vincent starts the match off against Castle, and he ends up hitting a side Russian leg sweep, and the boys start cooling him off with their hands.
Yep, they cool off Castle.
Which is great.
Castle with a T-bone exploder. Brandon is tagged in first of the boys. There's a blind tag by the Righteous, and Dutch just isolating.
Just clotheslines the hell out of him.
Clotheslines with
Brent.
wrist. Clotheslines with wrist control, which
Yes.
is great.
He's
Don't let
literally
him
just
get back
walking
up.
around in circles, grabbing the wrist of Brent and just clotheslining him.
Vincent continues the assault on Brent, back suplex, a running knee into the corner that's right to his temple. Like, it's
Bateman
a lot of
comes in,
Yeah.
headbutts.
What do you call that? Where you set up for a vertical suplex and then you just twist? Like, it's not a neck breaker, but it's the neck breaker motion.
Isn't it it's the what's it called? Isn't it the gold dust finisher?
The curtain call?
No, what the hell does he call it? The something cutter.
Oh, I don't know what the name is. I just think it's a really cool move.
But I just call it a twisted neck breaker.
Yeah. Castle does get the tag and rate the hot tag.
Solid. I would say out of 10,
7,
maybe 6.5, 7. Yeah, that range.
I might just like Castle too much, so I gave him a 7. It's elbows and rights for everybody. Clothesline to Bateman, DDT. Castle then with a variety of suplexes.
Oh yeah, exploders galore.
Yeah.
Northern Lights, release Northern Lights, all the jazz, all the good stuff that involve throwing people.
I was explaining Dalton Castle to my wife because she was like, "Who are you covering on the podcast?" She always asks, "Who are you covering on the podcast this week?" And I was like, "Oh, it's like this really flamboyant, like he's the peacock. He does all this stuff." I explained the boys and everything, and I was like, the weird thing about him is that he does not wrestle the way you would think he would wrestle. He throws people all the time. He is a trained wrestler. He's a grappler. And she was like, "That sounds weird." I'm like, "It's a good weird."
Yes, it's weird in the best way.
It's like, it's the perfect, like, you were going to, if you just met Dalton Castle, if you saw Dalton Castle out in the world and you met him for like 2 hours and he was in character, you'd be like, this man is like, what an interesting individual. You'd assume he kind of like begs off. You'd assume he's kind of heel, all this stuff. And then you watch him in a ring and just throwing people, capture suplexes for everybody, deadlift Germans for the biggest people on every team. Like, that's the way he wrestles, is crazy. I love it though.
Yeah, it's great. Everything he does is great. It doesn't matter who it is. And then we get the best part. He just starts throwing boys.
Okay. So
he just starts throwing boys.
Brandon spears Dutch off the apron. Castle tosses Brandon over the top onto Bateman, and then Brent onto Vincent. And then Brandon's back in, tosses him onto Dutch. And then Brent's back in, tosses him onto Bateman. There are 7 tosses of boys onto various Righteous members. I think it's Bateman gets 3. The others both get 2. Commentary. I do not know who's on commentary for ROH at this point. I don't remember who it is.
I don't even know. I mean, Ian Riccaboni.
It's not Ian.
I don't know who's... It's not?
It wasn't Ian who said this line.
No.
Jesus turned water into wine. Castle's making people out of other people. What?
A bar.
An absolute bar.
Castle was about to sit on his boy's throne, but then the Vita Vea, I don't know what her name is.
Vita Vea.
Vita Vea showed up. That lady who's with the Righteous, I forget her name.
You mean not the defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
No, that's exactly who I mean.
Vita Von Star.
Yeah, shout out to Vita Vea.
Fucking love Vita Vea. Space Eater, baby.
Hey, he's one of the best in the league, baby.
He's great.
Distracts him, and then the Righteous attack him from behind.
Yeah.
She ends up going for an acai moonsault onto the boys, but the boys move, so she just ends up hitting Vincent and Bateman.
And then Dutch solves problems by front flip sentoning onto the boys, and they get crushed like a cartoon. It's like an anvil dropped on them. It's crazy. They are pancakes.
Yeah, literally. The Righteous just hit a series of like finishing moves, culminating in Death from Above, which is just a swanton bomb from Vincent for a near fall because Castle breaks the pin.
Castle breaks the pin by like dog headbutting the ref.
And I think it's Stefan Stevens who's the referee for this, and he just was like, "What is going on? Why would you do that?"
Vincent with a cutter on Brent dives onto Dalton. Dalton then does a spin head scissors at ringside, so we get that. Good job for Mr. Castle. Dutch catches Brandon with a spinning side slam, but Castle is the legal man. He comes in for a huge German suplex to Dutch. Like I said, German suplexes to the biggest person he can find.
Yeah. Bateman comes back into the ring. Castle hits the bangerang on him. 1, 2, 3. The boys and Dalton Castle win.
It was fun to see the boys wrestle because I know it's like a unique thing. Like this is me and the Dalton Castle.
That's the Tate brothers.
It is funny that Dalton Castle, the way they're portrayed is like they're just like here, like they'll do whatever he says. They love him so much, and Castle is just so much of a better wrestler than them. It's crazy. Who ended their title reign? Do you remember?
Is it the Gates of Agony and
Brian Cage? It's
Brian Cage?
The Embassy.
Yeah.
They ended the reign at Final Battle at 140 days. Our promo is from about 4 months ago.
November.
November 9th, 2023. Dalton Castle is cutting a promo with the ROH World Championship held by Edward Kingston. This promo is outstanding.
Yeah. Because he's just getting more and more deranged at this point. So, like, now he's just fully psychotic.
Yeah.
He's also lost the boys. I don't know if you knew this. Like, 2 weeks ago, he lost the boys to Johnny TV.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's devastating.
People got to stop taking people. You can't just take people.
Yeah, that was like the whole thing Liam Neeson like released that movie about. You don't take people.
Could you imagine Dalton Castle doing a remake of Taken, but the boys are gone? Oh my God.
I need you to reach into those pockets. Anyways, do you think this is easy? Does it look like I care? Like I don't care what you see as a viewer? I care only about you.
Can we set the scene first? Dalton Castle is backstage. He's doing the promo in front of the promo thing, whatever. That's fine. Dalton Castle is in a very nice looking cardigan with
Yes.
no shirt on underneath. He just found a cardigan, threw it on. He's on
He's
the shades that
beaten
I would
up.
describe as like classic Iron Man shades, where like the tint is, it's kind of like the gradient tint and all that.
Yeah.
He has a bandage across his nose and some of the craziest eyes known to mankind. He is off his rocker and
He's
he is
bloodied and
furious.
beaten. Do you think this is easy? Does it look like I don't care what you see as a viewer? I only care about you. I want to give you exactly what you deserve when you sit home and you watch me compete with every bit of strength that I have in my body.
The most honest thing he does is he talks about how much he hates Eddie Kingston being champion, and he can't even get the words out. He just mimics choking it. He's like, it makes me want to. He just mimics choking Eddie Kingston.
You just have to sit there. He just has to sit there and watch Eddie Kingston muddy up the airwaves.
Says Kingston is floundering an opportunity since he's been in his position. He's been the ROH World Champion, and Kingston is fucking it up, essentially. Kingston is filling the viewers' brains with ordinary, which is exactly the motivation I would expect from Dalton Castle, is that people are boring. Dalton Castle doesn't like you if you're weird. Dalton Castle likes you if you're plain.
Yeah. He walked by his favorite fondue place because he wanted some cheese, but it was closed, so he smashed the window with his face.
It's a very reasonable response to your favorite fondue place.
With his face.
What store would be closed that you would smash the window with your face?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know if there is one.
I don't know if I
just don't want to put my face through anything.
No, I thought Goldberg was done putting his arm through a window. Like, I couldn't imagine putting my face through a window. But Dalton Castle loves fondue so much.
I'd like throw a rock through a window.
Don't get me wrong. I'd vandalize, just not with my own face.
He says he'll do the same to Eddie and give the fans a champion that they can sink their teeth into.
I like unhinged Dalton Castle. It's very weird.
So good.
He has this vibe of like a movie star who used to be famous and now is clearly losing his grip on reality.
Oh my God. It's have you seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
That's a good comp.
It's Leo's character.
That's a good comp.
Just losing his freaking mind.
What did you think going back and reviewing the career of Dalton Castle?
I think his name is Rick Dalton.
I think his name is Rick Dalton. I think you're right. We are on to you, Quentin Tarantino. All right. As a Dalton Castle fan, what did you think going back and looking at the career?
I love this. I love Dalton Castle. I love everything about it. I've mentioned it before. If he didn't have that back injury, which has completely changed his style, by the way, like he's not the same worker that I think you kind of notice it a little bit in the Righteous match. It's kind of masked by the fact that it's a 6-man tag, but he's just slower. He's not as explosive. He doesn't really move as well as he used to. He doesn't wrestle as much as he used to. He doesn't take bumps the way he used to. So he's worked a lot more on the character. I think as a character, he is significantly better now than he was before. And that's not to say that he wasn't good before. He was great. Yeah. He is just legitimately right now doing some of the best character work in all of wrestling. And he's always been one of the better promos. He's an excellent promo. And the guy, I hope that the main event's son shines on him again one day, because he is so freaking talented, and it would be criminal if he just gets one Ring of Honor world title run that got cut short because of a back injury. It really would.
I always knew that Dalton Castle, the character, was very interesting. Right? That he was layered. There was lots happening, that he was a very unique character, especially because ROH was so much like the wrestling place, right? Yeah. Like it was the place based on the Code of Honor, and Danielson's there, and Kenta, and, and CM Punk, and all those guys. Jay Lethal, all those guys. Wow, can fucking Dalton Castle wrestle? Yeah. He absolutely can wrestle with the best of them. He's just also a showman. It's like when you have a friend who's good at one thing and you're like, that's the thing they do. And then they show you an entirely new talent. You're like, how are you good at multiple things? This is annoying. Dalton Castle is good at both parts of the wrestling equation. He can do it in the ring, and he does all the other things outside of the ring that make him that much more special.
He's like that friend who is like the best video games player, like this guy could like legitimately be like ranked in like competitions and stuff if he wanted to be, but also he's like really happy with a wife and kids.
I have a friend. You met them at my wedding and my bachelor party. They're currently getting a PhD. They're also the best Mario Kart player I know. Do you know how fucking annoying that is? That's Dalton Castle. Like, excellent wrestler is also a crazy gimmick. Like, oh, so I really
It's
enjoyed
not
this.
fair.
I'm gonna choke Eddie Kingston. The recommendations of the Cody title match, absolutely.
Yes.
I think
Watch
there's
the
also
promo.
watch the promo, and if you want something extra, go watch the Okada match. That would be the next one.
I also really like
good.
that 6-man tag.
The 6-man tag is very fun too. Watch it for Dutch.
Yeah, shout out to Dutch. Every time I think of Dutch, I think of Red Dead Redemption.
What are we gonna do about money, Dutch? Shout out to Arthur Morgan.
We gotta go to Haiti.
We can't go to Blackwater. So is Tahiti. You know, we're gonna fly. We're gonna go to Tahiti.
Right.
I just finished that game. What a good game! All right, let's talk about housekeeping stuff. So we are going to be dropping a new merch collection and a new merch link. It will be on all of our social media, so you should follow us on Instagram, on Twitter at Crossbody of Work. You can also find the link here on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us at Crossbody of Work on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube right now, hit like on the video. That'll be really cool of you. The merch link is going to be down in the show notes. It's also going to be in the show notes for the podcast. Wherever you're listening, be sure to rate 5 stars. It helps us out tremendously. Also, the links to the matches are going to be on the YouTube description and our podcast page whenever that goes live. Look at our socials for all that information as well. Follow Javier on social media wherever he tells you right now.
I'm on the Twitter machine at JMelloSports. I have no explanation for why I don't have a sign yet. I just don't.
That's fair. But you have glasses, so that helps. Follow me on Twitter at @7gomes, ITSEVANGOMES. Next week, as you know or may know, the boys are going to Philadelphia. We're going to WrestleMania. It's going to be very exciting. So to celebrate that, we are having the Extreme Road to Philly. That means every episode between now and WrestleMania is going to be focused on somebody who has been in ECW, and we are starting with a doozy. We're doing a 2-parter, and the first part of Raven will be next week.
Oh, yeah. I am excited. I don't know much Raven, so I'm really excited to see what you... I know Raven from TNA.
That's fair. Raven
and like
consistently ranked as one of the greatest minds in the business. Always had really interesting angles. We're going to talk about Raven versus Tommy Dreamer. We're going to talk about Raven Sandman. We're going to talk about Raven's flock in WCW. We're going to touch on TNA time as well over the 2 parts. It's going to be a really great time. We're going to even talk about Raven's former gimmicks, because Raven wasn't always Raven. Raven was a couple other things. You may know Raven as his name was Johnny Polo. You may know Raven as Johnny Polo. Absolutely. Or as Scotty Flamingo.
Scotty Flamingo.
Sounds like a lost boy of Dalton Castle.
Sounds like the name of the boys.
We are going to be covering Raven and other former ECW wrestlers on our way to Philadelphia. And then, of course, WrestleMania weekend, we're going to be bringing you tons of podcasts and tons of stuff on our YouTube channel. Also, be sure on our YouTube channel, we currently have the predictions for AEW Revolution. Go and check those out. And we have put all of our old episodes on Sting, since it is Sting's retirement match on Sunday.
Yes, it is Sting week.
It is Sting week here at Crossbody of Work. That's all the housekeeping for this week. Like the video, like the podcast, subscribe, rate 5 stars, all that, whatever. It's time for everyone's favorite part. Javier, any final words for the people?
This week on Life Advice with Javier, just don't be afraid of change. We're going through a lot of change here on the podcast. We're, new stuff, all this other things. It's an exciting time period. And, that doesn't happen without a little bit of change, without daring to take a little bit of a risk, without taking a bet on yourself, without seeking improvement and seeing if you could do better, sometimes you just got to take that risk to really push the boundaries of how far you can take whatever success you want, whatever ambition you have. If you want to be if you want that promotion so bad, maybe, take the risk. Maybe skip switch companies, find that position somewhere else, see if they'll take you on. If you want something like that, if you want to go get that degree, just go do it. Go do it. Take the change. Take a risk. Sometimes change is a good thing. It's scary as all hell, but sometimes it's the best thing you could do for yourself.
Don't be afraid to try new things. You might be bad at it, and guess what? We've been bad at stuff before too.
Might be first few podcasts were probably a little rough.
We might be bad at this. I mean, we're not. We got this down by now. We're pretty good.
We were like number 2 in Luxembourg. We're pretty freaking
good. Also, yes, shout out to whoever our fan is in Luxembourg. I think there's 2 of you, because whenever one of them listens to a podcast, we shoot immediately up the wrestling charts in Luxembourg. And then
love you guys.
Shout out to you, whoever our fans are from Luxembourg. Reach out to us, DM us. We would fucking love to meet you. Never been to Luxembourg. Yes. I don't think Javier could find it on the map. It'd be awesome.
Absolutely. Could you find it on the map?
Yes, I have a geography degree. I know maps. I
100% would not be able to find it on a map. But you know what? I would go and I'd eat whatever delicacies you guys have.
Water is blue on maps. Land is green. All right. On that informational note, we will be back next week to talk about Raven. We'll talk to you then.